Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us live from the Empire FinTech Conference, we have Mike Butler, President and CEO of Grasshopper Bank. We're going to talk about trends in the digital banking space. Mike, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks, and tell us a bit about Grasshopper.
Yeah, Grasshopper is a 2-year-old de novo bank, which really in the fintech world is a startup. And our focus has been on the business and innovation community, and our approach is to be a leader delivering digital financial solutions into that growing economy.
And what's the mission? Who are you serving?
Well, it is that business and innovation economy. So if you think about, and I guess I would go back and say it's about small businesses, whether they show up as the gig economy, whether it shows up as traditional small businesses, whether they show up as small businesses who have been invested by venture capitalists and are part of the fintech community.
Right.
But companies that want to avail themselves of what I would call leading edge digital treasury management and loan solutions that aren't as readily available in the marketplace today.
Let's talk about some of the fintech and digital banking trends. I've been hearing banking as a service a lot at this conference.
Sure. Well, banking as a service is something that I've been a part of and my team for the last 5 or 6 years. It really started with the idea that is fintech going to be around forever? Will they really be disruptive? And then how will traditional banks deal with it? Our view was, yes, fintechs are here because big banks and little banks sometimes can't innovate at the speed and at the excellence that fintech can. And our view is we wanted to partner with them. And what happens is fintechs grow their product and realize that they would like to offer a more traditional banking product, but not be a bank.
Right.
And that's where banking as a service steps in. And if you're an organization that knows how to work with fintechs, understands the regulatory environment, the partnership can be outstanding.
Right, and another interesting thing is I feel as if your larger traditional legacy banks offer products telling you what you need. And it seems to be that fintechs are focusing on what customers need and what they want. And that's a key distinction.
Yeah, I'd probably change that around, Jill, a little bit and say I think in the fintech community, and there is a lot more of a client-first solution. What does the client really want versus what the bank can offer? And sometimes your legacy systems or the fact that you've been offering products and services for a long time and have more of a challenge innovating and changing based on consumer and business changes, it's hard for them to do. And that's where fintechs have stepped in with a more nimble approach and better technology.
What were some of the key themes discussed on your panel?
Today we talked a little bit about, what is really what's new inside fintech, how challenger banks will adapt to some of the changes that are taking place, and what it is when you're a part of a fintech, what are the keys to being a successful company, and how do you manage through challenging times like we did during the last 2 years.
Right, and that seems to be a key theme that's coming up. Another one is because fintech or finance and technology, they're all competing for the same type of talent as well.
Sure.
That tech talent.
Yeah, the talent part's, number one, right? I mean, what I said on the panel is, and I say it all the time, great companies are built by great people. At the end of the day, we all from a leadership position have to recognize our job is to attract, retain, and motivate people. And when you get the right people who are aligned to your culture on the team, amazing things can happen. But it just all starts with people. So that's what we've got to do, and that's the most challenging job of a leader.
Yeah, and it's interesting when we talk about the pandemic and how a lot of the digitization trends have accelerated, 5 to 10 years flash forward. I think it's one of the silver linings is because of technology, we were able to diversify our workforces as well. You didn't have to go just on the West Coast, just on the East Coast to get that talent. It's from all over now.
Yeah, Jill, you're right on the mark, right? So a lot of companies like banks used to operate geographically. It's like, this is my market. So, I serve it because I have brick and mortar in a certain area. I hire people in that area. Well, the same thing exactly happened. And actually, we had taken this more aggressive approach slightly before the pandemic, saying if you were going to get the right talent, it had to be geographically agnostic. And what we said is right people trump right location. And because technology has allowed us to do that, but it's also people's willingness to work from a different location because it's a work-life balance. I mean,
Yeah.
if San Antonio is important to you and that's where you want to live, then you make the job work. And so if you've got the right person, back to the right people, it is a broad-based opportunity to hire from across the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a great incentive as well. If you want to have the luxury of that flexibility in a hybrid role, you kind of want to work hard to make sure that you can keep said role.
Exactly.
So we know trends have been accelerated. Are we in the early innings of what can happen with fintech?
Well, I got to tell you, I think we are now. Early innings is maybe I would probably call it middle innings, but it is amazing the depth of transformation that can occur with technology and with innovation in how the economy runs and behaves. E-commerce, broad-based commentary about what's been going on with simply buying from Amazon, but then it has moved into the SMB sector, and then all of this other activity surrounding how small businesses operate with the embedded finance continues to emerge as opportunities for the economy to become more efficient and more effective and better for the end user.
Yeah, well, that's a very exciting thing, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Marketing Reporter at Nasdaq.